Welcome back to another episode of Shit That Goes On in Our Heads. I'm Dirty Skittles, and I'm here with...
And I'm G-Rex.
Say it one more time.
And I'm G-Rex.
And today we have a very special guest. It's Dirty Skittles' dad, and he goes by Crazy 8. Want to say hi, Crazy 8?
Here in the house.
Crazy 8, do you want to tell people a little bit about who you are, what you do?
Yeah, without going into specifics.
Yeah, without being specific.
Been a mental health counselor, therapist for about 28 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so worked in almost every modality out there. I mean, I worked in adult inpatient psychiatry. I ran a program for children, an inpatient psychiatry unit, long-term care unit for children that have severe mental disorders. In-home services. I kind of addressed all the areas, including teaching at the university level.
Nice. And now you're getting ready to retire.
Oh, yes.
When is your last official day?
6 weeks and 2 days.
And G-Rex, what's your countdown?
14 working days.
Oh, geez Louise.
Not that I'm counting or anything.
No.
Oh, wait, that was Friday. So Monday is 13 working days.
Nice. I envy you.
Not that I'm counting or anything.
Cool. So after 28 years, you said?
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. It's not that I have anything against the field or what's going on in the field itself. It's more that I think it's time for me to move on and leave room for the new generation.
Nice.
Those other people that want to get into the field and your best teacher. And this is something I learned from being a young musician. Your best school is the streets. The best school is on hands. The textbook will show you certain things, but it's people are not cookie cutter.
Yeah. Real life experiences.
Yeah.
That's where you learn, right?
So I had a lot of fun and met some incredible people in my career. Some people that I hold dear, as mentors. And I learned more from my patients than I did from anything else.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually huge. I never thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. I don't know if you have like the biggest lesson you've learned from a patient, but is there something that comes to mind when I ask that? Like, is there a big lesson you've learned?
Yeah. Empathy. It's something that I learned how some people are able to have that kind of level of empathy that the average person wouldn't respond. For example, someone loses a family member to a tragedy, something that could have been prevented. Despite their loss, they're willing to forgive the offender.
Wow.
Wow.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That hit real deep.
It did. Even speaking about empathy, with all the stuff that's been going on with work, I'm an empath. So the day that it happened, I was a complete mess. Mm-hmm. I couldn't work anymore because I kind of took on their pain. Mm-hmm. At the end of the week, I remembered that I needed to do some self-care and some self-love. And so I just stopped responding to texts and emails and messages. I'm like, this is not healthy because somebody else is going to pay for my not taking care of myself. Mm. And it was either going to be my coworkers, my wife, somebody I see on the street. I'm probably going to blurt out like, you're a fucker. and not really mean it, but like
Yeah.
I would need to get it out. So yeah, empathy is huge, huge.
Yeah.
And it's also, and when you're an empath, you also need to remember, like, take care of yourself, right? Because taking on everybody else's emotions and the hurt and everything, it can really drain you.
Yeah, if you're not well, you can't take care of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Really, all you're doing is trying to cause harm. So yeah, if you're not well, you can't take care of anyone. Actually, you might be causing more harm, to the other individual as well as yourself. It's all. I've gotten to the point in life, and something that I've learned, from one of my mentors, about 15 years ago, that what happened is just what's supposed to happen. Don't get stuck in the moment. Your life is a lot more fruitful than that second or those 20 seconds or those 20 minutes or those 20 hours.
Yeah. That's hard to remember, because in that moment, it feels like this is the end of everything. Like, it's like everything is crushing
We're
down.
emotional species, That's what we are. And when we have an emotion that's really charged, we're going to react to it.
I'm going to take a clip of this and I'm going to send it to you, Dirty Skittles,
when I have
every
those
3
days.
days.
I was going
On
to ask,
repeat.
I mean, completely selfishly, when you're in that moment where it is very consuming and it's hard to get out of that thought or that headspace, is there a trick to sort of just rattle yourself out of it?
Well, not necessarily a trick, but you have to realize that if you're focusing on something that's already past, all you're doing is making your past your present.
Damn.
You're ignoring your present.
That's right. I'm wagging my finger at you. And I'm kind of wagging it at myself too. But
Yeah, and
I'm going to take this whole little section and I'm going to just keep it on rewind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, because of my military background, I know I'm very rudimental. I'm very structured in certain things. And I know when things get out of that structure, how I'm going to react. So it's something that I am aware. And I work on that because I know that I don't want the person to think that my reaction is appropriate, because I know how I'm reacting. So it's something that I, even though just because I'm in the field doesn't make me immune. I'm a human being.
Mm-hmm.
So these are little things that I do for myself because I want to enjoy the fruitfulness of life. We don't get to pick the day to go. So, going outside and breathing the air, even though, might have some contaminants, but what the heck? This is our home. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not the person that's going to be going to Mars or anything like that. This is my home. I'm going to enjoy the plants and the animals. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to have more time when I retire. I want to walk around and, breathe the air and observe nature and try to do my best to, preserve nature.
That's really awesome. I like that a lot. That's part of the reason we moved from South Florida to upstate New York. Mm-hmm. I can walk outside. I don't have any air pollution. I don't have any noise pollution. It just snaps me out. Unless it's like -20 and then I don't go outside.
But do you have those days that even though it's -20, you can look out the window and see the beauty?
Yes. Yeah, I can look right outside my hill. We have a herd of about 40 deer that come and eat out of our backyard. And any point in the day, I can just look up and there'll be like 2 or 3 deers just snacking on the hill.
That's nice. Kind of speaking of, you briefly mentioned your military background, and I wondered if, I mean, just for the listeners that are tuning in, my husband and I are in the middle of a move to Georgia. And before we can actually move to Georgia, we're staying with my parents. And staying with my parents is, I mean, I love it because I'm close to my family. But I noticed that in the morning, every morning, you have a routine. When you get up and you can go work out, you head to the gym. Can you tell us why you think that that's important for your mental health?
Well, there is plenty of research studies that show the connection between physical health and mental health. You know, everything from your cardiovascular systems to, you know, your sensory systems. For me, I do it because it helps me clear my mind. It gets me started for the day. And it's a routine that I've had since, 1977 when I went into active duty. But it has been a health prescription that helps me clear my mind. You know, there are days that, again, being human, just like everybody else, there's days that I have difficulty sleeping. You know, there's things that start to preoccupy me. And they might be realistic or unrealistic. It might be memories or nightmares. So I go through those routines, and, you know, when you're deprived from sleep, your functioning level decreases. So going to the gym has been an assistance in allowing me to, you know, run and exercise my body to the point to when it's time to sleep, I have taught it to sleep. So I have a routine. You know, I go to bed at the same time, and I don't drink liquids after 9:30. And I mean, I have a certain routine that I do that gets me, you know, the sleep, you know, more consistently than you know, not doing it.
That really rings true for me. So when I went through my mental breakdown on Christmas Day, like the very next day, I saw a therapist, and they suggested to go to the gym. So I did. I was very faithful about going to the gym for a month until I had to have dental surgery, and then I couldn't go because I had a mouthful of stitches. But the real reason I went to the gym was to make my head stop. Like, that would be the only thing I would think of. I didn't want to fall off the treadmill, and I didn't want to drop a weight on my foot, right? Because I had visions of that, like I'm on the treadmill, I'm like, shit, I'm going to fall. Because, you know, my fat ass hasn't worked out for like 15 years, okay? So now I get on the treadmill, and I just walk it out, and I actually miss it. I miss going to the gym because it was part of my routine, right? I would work all day. At 5:35, I'd be on my way to the gym. I'd work out for an hour, and I didn't really have a goal, right? I didn't want to lose weight. I don't want to get in shape. I just want the shit in my head to stop, because that's the only time I could get the merry-go-round to stop for even like half an hour.
That reminds me of when I lived in Georgia and I started, you know, like everybody does, right? It's the first day of the new year, and I'm like, this is the year I'm gonna get it together. I'm going to the gym, and I signed up for a gym that had what they marketed as an intro to boxing, and I'm like, that's what I need, because I've got a lot of anger issues. I need to just beat the shit out of a bag real quick, and I'll be great. Fast forward to like that. This was like an actual training gym for professional fighters and MMA fighters and boxers that were going there to improve their technique. And I roll in, literally, my roly-poly body just kind of shows up, and they're like, what is this lady doing here? But you know what? They took my money for the membership. So, I mean, I became a member of this MMA gym and realized quickly my skill set wasn't up to par. But there was a weight trainer, and I love him to death, and I pray and hope that he's actually still there, because when we move back to Georgia, I'm signing up, and it's funny, but I say it to say that when I started weight training with this person...
They're probably thinking, hey, she's going to go home and beat up her husband.
You know what?
Careful with this lady coming
There
in
were
here.
a couple of jokes like, you don't need your husband to move that. Look at you with these muscles now. You're going to go in there. But I started weight training with him, and I remember I had, like, it was the first day, and I was just picking up just the barbell. There wasn't even weight on it, and I was struggling physically. And I noticed mentally I was breaking, because I was like, mentally, I thought I was stronger physically than I actually was. Like, I didn't
I
realize.
think those are 15 pounds.
Yeah, yeah, basically. Like, I didn't
bar
realize how out of shape I was. And I left the gym that day trying to just walk because, I mean, the guy worked me out good. Like, I couldn't walk. My legs were made of rubber. And I was like, look, I may not be physically fit, but I am prideful and I'm going to walk my ass out of this gym. And I cried. I called my mom in the car and I was crying because I was breaking down. I was like, it was the realization that physical and mental were together. And even though I couldn't lift the bell physically, mentally I was doubting myself. And I was like, how the fuck did I get here? Like, how is this my current state?
That is exactly what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's exactly. It's your body talking to you and telling you realization. Here it is.
Yeah.
If you want to do this, you got to do X.
But
you know, you don't have to be an adamant exerciser. You know, some recent studies showed that you really need only between 11 to 20 minutes of a workout daily. And it doesn't necessarily need to be, lifting weights. You know, everything from, a slight jog to, going upstairs, cutting the lawn. So doing something that is an active routine to the point to where you're breathing normally, but you're not breathing good enough to sing.
I like that. The other thing that, about going to the gym is because I've worked from home right now for 3 years, right? So now I never wear a bra. The only time I wear a bra now is to go to the gym because if I have to end up running, I don't want to die. Because something's going to slap me in the face and we're going to die and we're going to roll off the treadmill. The two things that I don't want to do. Three. I don't want to die at the gym. I don't want to roll off the treadmill and I don't want to drop a weight. But I got to the point that you did. So I was working out with a 17-year-old, right? Okay. Full of testosterone. Like, I'm going to pump it up. He's like, come on, let's do squats. I'm like, the fuck we are. Okay, my whole ass is burning while we're doing this. He's like, hold it for three more seconds. Nope. I sprouted up. I'm like, you know what? Pre-workout is done. I'm going to go back to the treadmill. You do whatever you need to do. You and your 17-year-old testosterone-filled body, just get away from me. Yeah. So then he comes and stands next to me on the treadmill and starts running. And he's like, I look at him, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I need to get my cardio in. I'm like, you can walk, okay? Now I'm getting your sweat on me.
Ew. Yes.
That reminds me of that Sebastian Maniscalco joke.
Oh, yeah.
There's 8 treadmills and he decides to stand next to my fucking right next to me. Treadmill.
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, but when you go for yourself. I see the same thing to the gym that I go. I mean, I see these guys that are on the juice, and you got all these people that are, that are working hard, at having a physique that is very athletic, but they're not 68 like me. So when you turn my age, if you look that way, then I'm impressed. In the meantime, I really don't give a flying fuck what you look like.
So, I mean, there's got to be more to it, right? Because going to the gym, like you mentioned, like you'll see people that are physically fit, but like mentally, they're not all there.
No,
they're struggling.
And you have the group that goes there for socializing. It's a meat market.
Yeah.
Some of these big, box gyms, that's what they are. It's they're catering to the young population, and they go there. A part of them go to socialize. Again, when you start doing the athletic piece, don't worry about what other people. You want to focus on, is my body changing? And always look at improvement. Start with one part. Don't get yourself all crazy about, doing bench presses and squats and curls and this and that. Focus on something first. I mean, during COVID, I gained almost 100 pounds.
Jesus.
Yeah. So now I'm down to 179, 180, which, for my height, is not bad. But yeah, I mean, during COVID, because you couldn't go anywhere, and at home, I couldn't really have the motivation other than doing rubber band exercises, but I couldn't do any cardio.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're sitting at home and couldn't do that and working, I'm sitting all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't have the movement to do the cardio. So when I got back to the gym, I didn't lift weights or none of that for about 2 weeks. I just got on the treadmill and start walking. Yeah, and that's really how I just started. From that, then I moved to the bike, and then I would alternate so I wouldn't get bored. I would do, 5 minutes or 10 minutes on the bike and 5 or 10 minutes on the treadmill. And then I would start slowly. So, yeah, and I don't go there for an hour. I go do my exercises and get the hell out. I'm not there to compete with anybody. I want to make sure that my body is going in a direction that I'm wanted to go.
Besides working out physically, for those that are listening and, maybe this is ringing true to them as much as it is for G-Rex and I, our producer will edit that out. The brain is a muscle too, right?
Yes.
So besides working out in the gym, mental health requires a little bit more effort in that area.
Yeah. Well, for the brain, here's the workouts I do. I do a lot of Zen meditation. And really, it's a way of breathing like, most meditations are. But it's really doing more a metacognition exercise. You're really focusing on yourself, what your inner feelings are and what are they connected to, and how do you solve those problems. When I do Zen meditation, which is something that I discovered, and I thought it was out of the ordinary, I get very emotional.
Interesting.
Doing that exercise. So it was something that I look at it more like it helps me cleanse, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It helps me cleanse. So I'm able to breathe again and start a new day.
Not carrying around baggage.
Not carrying around baggage, because again, the field that I am, that's all I'm hearing every day, and we clinicians suffer from compassion fatigue. It's something that we have to be careful with.
Yeah, I would imagine things would get real hairy if you didn't work through compassion
fatigue. And if you don't take care of that, then it becomes vicarious traumatization, which is almost like a form of PTSD. So you start having those same symptoms because of the experiences that you've heard other people suffer through. Once you hear something that affects you emotionally, your brain basically creates a scar without a memory. So once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Dirty Skittles, I wonder if this is something that we suffer from too, a little bit, just a tiny bit of PTSD, because, you and I are both very passionate about what we do, right? Mm-hmm. We're passionate about the people we work with, day after day after day. For like the last 2 years, we've been pounded with just stuff that doesn't seem right. A lot of that I internalize, right? Because I'm going to be 60. So a lot of what I was taught is, all my life is you just shove that shit down as far as it can go, right? And don't, let it out until, Christmas Day rolls around and you're like, fuck it, I'm done. One of the things I've learned just through my own therapy is that, my cortisol was all messed up, right? For like 3 years, I didn't do shit, right? Laid around the house, watched TV, shoveled some snow. But as soon as I started laughing more and exercising more, my serotonin went up. And the more that my serotonin is up, the happier I am. But I'm finding it's a hard balance, right? Because if I'm not laughing, I'm just done. I have zero fucks to give.
That attitude. Look at all the stuff I hate to say it, but, we're walking around a lot of strange people. You know, we still have people that are scared of the number 13, all right? Or walking under a ladder, you know, even though there's no documented death of someone walking under a ladder. But, you know, even buildings, you go to elevators, they have a 13th floor, which is their storage, but there's no 13 button on the elevator. So, you know, we got some strange people walking around. So,
especially in Florida.
So, you know, what I try to tell, you know, the people that I come across in my lifetime is that you can't make other people's problem your problem. You can listen to them. You can definitely empathize with it, but don't make it your problem, because you have enough of your own. You know, life is going to throw monkey wrenches at you all the time. You know, don't make it your problem. You know, if you continue to enable someone by assisting them, they're never going to learn how to cope with those situations. So, you know, it's more helpful for someone to understand that, and that's why, you know, the clientele that I would get would come to me, because I wouldn't paint the pretty picture. I'm not just only hearing what you're saying, but I'm reflecting back to you, what is it that needs to happen to solve this? You know, because is it based on a reality, or is it based on an opinion? What I always ask people is, can you give me an example of what's a reality? And most individuals struggle with giving me an example. And I give them one example: gravity. I take a pen, pick it up, and drop it on the floor, and tell them I can get everybody in this building, bring them in here, and we'll do the same thing, and I guarantee you every time that pen's going to hit the floor. That's reality. Now, what's an opinion? Oh, tacos are better than burgers. You know, the problem is that, you know, our brain is a muscle that is used to accustom and format, and a lot of it has to deal with the way we feel. So if you're thinking messed up, you feel messed up, you act messed up. So
Wow.
Sometimes those opinions, because we're so passionate about our belief, we think that opinion is a fact.
There's two things you said. So in my therapy, where I'm at, so I've been in therapy for over a year, and one of the hugest kind of breakthrough moment for me was understanding that not everything is my burden to carry.
No.
So once I found that spot in my life, I was able to let go of a lot of stuff. And then the second thing that followed after that was being able to realize, I'll take a very perfect example. If I'm just in a bad mood, being able to internally look at myself, how am I feeling? Have I felt this way before? And what was the situation before? Because a lot of what I found was that I had these beliefs that had nothing to do with the reality of the situation. It was something that triggered a memory, a thought, a feeling, a belief from something way back when. And realizing oh, this isn't the same thing. I'm still working to make that muscle stronger, but it's been very, very, very helpful to sort of get in a better place.
Yeah, we're emotional species. When I have those feelings the same way, my first thing is, what is the scenario in my brain that's causing this feeling? You know, because I need to look at what is it? You know, and is it based on a fact, or is it based on an opinion? Because it's going to make a difference on how should I be feeling and how should I react. So it's an exercise that, I do. And I teach it, because, it's one of those things that once you learn it, you don't need a prescription for it. You don't need a refill. And it applies to every decision in your life. Every decision. That no one has to make an instantaneous decision unless it's life or death. In the meantime, you can wait. I'll let you know my answer.
What's funny but not funny is, so, prior to Christmas Day, like I hadn't opened up to my wife at all, right? Because I couldn't find my voice. Couldn't find my footing, nothing. And so about 2 weeks ago, she asked me, she's like, you're finally laughing and you're like back to your old self. But she's like, give me a code word when I know, so that I know that you're not in the right headspace, right? So I gave her the word purple, because I'm never going to fucking use that word again, right? I'm only going to use it when I need to get out of the house, get out of my head, do something. Because she felt really bad, right? Because I couldn't open up to her. And so when I started going to the gym, she started seeing that I was a lot happier, right? I would come home, I was talkative, I opened up about my day, I wasn't saddling all of this crap that was happening around me. And it's my outlet. And I think it's really important that you find that kind of outlet. I don't care if it's going to the gym. I don't care if it's walking up your hill. You want to come to my house and climb up my stairs 47,000 times a day, you can do that too. But it's an outlet. And I think that everybody needs to find that outlet so that you're not letting your emotions ruin your life, right? Because one bad word or one bad emotion is going to change your entire life or your entire trajectory.
Correct. Yeah. We're humans. We make mistakes. Perfection is, again, very subjective. What's perfect for one person is not perfect for the other. So it's in the eye of the beholder. I look at it in what I, again, preach to everyone. Life is very precious. Let's not get caught up in the bullshit.
Yeah.
There's plenty of that out there.
Yeah.
Enjoy your life, share the love with the people that you love, have a good time when you can. You don't live to work, you work to live. So yeah, attitude has a lot to do with it. And, every morning I get up and I'm just like grateful that I can sit up and take nourishment because, I didn't have to wake up. Mm-hmm. It's not my decision. So it's like, shoot, I got another day, man. Hell yeah. Nice. So, I go in with the attitude and, and then I might have a rough day and I come home and I just chill. The moment I walk through the door, I don't bring the stuff home anymore. And if I need to chill, then I chill. I just do whatever I need to do to relax. But yeah, I don't bring that. I don't carry that anymore. It doesn't belong to me.
Well, I've learned so much in this whole podcast.
No, we need to have you back.
Now I have tools for myself. I do.
This has been the most legit advice we've discussed ever.
But it's good advice, and it's things that I can take to heart, right? Mm-hmm. Because retirement is creeping up on me a little bit faster than I thought it would. Mm. And yes, I have a plan.
It's scary.
It's very scary.
Yeah, I'm going through the same thing. Rest assured, it's not a unique situation. It's scary, and I've talked to other people that that have retired, and they're like, "Yeah, man, it's a scary situation, but I'm ready."
Yeah,
yeah.
I've survived worse than this, so it's like I'll take the next step, and I got no problem if I got to go back to work, I'll go back to work, but I think that things are in the place where they need to be. Thank God. So we're going to take that step. I want to spend more time with my grandkids and my kids and my wife. And, I want to go back and play golf. I want to take care of my own lawn so I don't have to pay someone to cut my doggone lawn. Yeah. And I want to, do some gardening because, lettuce at Publix is very expensive. Son of a bee. Yeah. So yeah, then, during COVID, I planted my own stuff and grew some stuff. And, But then I had to go back to work, and there you go. The economic and slavery. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I share your sentiments. Don't think that I'm not fearful. We're fearful, but you know what? Keep your head down. You did not get this far by luck or coincidence, miss.
Mm-hmm. So if there was one bit of advice that you could leave our listeners with, this whole episode I feel has been so fruitful, but one bit of advice, what would you say?
Oh, gosh. Don't sweat the small stuff. There's going to be mistakes. We've all made mistakes, but mistakes are not failures. You can't look at it that way, because those bad decisions and mistakes have made you the person you are today.
Yep.
So that's not a failure. Some of those decisions had to be survival skills. Don't knock that down. Keep your head up and tell the rest of the people to fuck off.
There you go. Yes. That's how we have to end it.
Thank you. That's the best advice ever.
It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone.